Okay, so this is what the bridge looks like from the back streets here. Like you really can't see. You can't see very much actually. And it is beginning to rain. But yes, this is as close to the river as you can get. Well, I think there's actually another unpaved dam that runs closer to the river, but this is as close as you can get on a paved street. So what we want to see is how far the river, the bridge, has come in the last 2 weeks. And from this vantage point, it seems as if it's not very far. It seems as if the bridge is the same as it was 2 weeks ago. However, they clearly have been working on it. I guess, although the gap is not closed, it probably is narrower than it was 2 weeks ago. Remember I said in the past, my observation is that it takes at least a week to build each span between the pillars, between a pair of pillars, two pairs of pillars. It takes about a week. So remember the first time I looked at the number of pillars and I said it would take 5 weeks. That was about 8 weeks ago. So clearly that is not an accurate assessment of the rate. However, as you can see, it's probably progressing at a rate of, that is the construction that is progressing at a rate of a span every 2 weeks or a span every week until you get to this complex section. So as I can imagine, the complexity of the construction increases as you get closer to the closing the gap between the high span section and the ramp, and that's where they are now. So above these vehicles you can see the high span section. See, I think I can get closer. Straight ahead is the bridge. So because we took this street, we are going to end up closer to the bridge. But this is what you can see from this vantage point. Now we can't cross over to the other side. The street continues with, we're going to have to go out to the public road to be able to see any more of it. But this is what it looks like from this vantage point. Above the treetops, you can see those pillars for the high span section. And then behind this, straight ahead of us here, is the old Demerara Harbor Bridge. But this is as much as you can see from this section. Morning. Morning. Is the pedestrian bridge open? The pedestrian bridge, is it open? Can you get permission from them? Just to see the bridge, the new bridge. Okay. All right. Okay, so we don't have permission to walk onto the bridge, as I said before, but this is what it looks like. This is the old Demerara Harbor Bridge. That's traffic coming towards us from the west bank. They're still using only one, I guess, direction. Right, traffic in one direction on the bridge. And this is, let's see, that's what the bridge looks like from, that's the new bridge looks like from the old bridge. So straight ahead here, that's the toll booth for the old bridge. The government has decided that this new bridge will not have tolls, which is in fact a good thing economically, because this bridge, the old bridge, exacts a price on living on the West Bank. So the West Bank and the West Coast people have to pay to cross the bridge every day to get to work in the city, and the toll acts like a penalty, right? The toll acts like a penalty on West Bank living. And so for that reason, it's a good idea to remove the bridge toll. Same is true in Berbice, for example. The Berbice River Bridge is very expensive, and the toll acts like a charge. It acts like a price, like a tax, right? It acts like a tax on the commuters who live on the West Bank. And so removing the tax, the bridge toll, removes that tax on West Coast and West Bank living. The downside, however, is that there's going to be a lot more traffic, right? There are a lot more people who are going to be using the bridge if it's free, because of all the unnecessary trips that people are going to take. That's the entrance to the bridge. There seems to be a whole lot less traffic today for some reason. All right, it seems as if there's a whole lot less traffic here on the East Bank. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, so I guess a lot of this traffic is now finding its way on the Heroes Highway. There's still a whole lot of construction going on Heroes Highway, so I'm not so sure where the traffic has gone this morning. But this is what it looks like here on the East Bank public road. We're walking on the opposite side of the public road than we normally do. We're normally on that side, on the other side. So that's the masjid, and that's the temple, and that's the temple at Peter's Hall, and that's the Peter's Hall overpass, which we didn't take today. We didn't look at the bridge via the overpass. Probably gonna do that later. But yes, this is what it looks like here at Peter's Hall. Now I'm going to try to get to the back street once more. That is a street that is closer to the river, so that we can take a closer look at the at the bridge if we can, but this is what it looks like from this location. Now, there was a move by the government to remove a lot of the houses in the path of the bridge. And so what happened since the last... Yes, guys, so this is the back street. This is what the bridge looks like as you get closer to the back street. Now, the problem is, of course, as you get closer, the closer you get to the bridge, the less you can see of it. I think there's another street behind this one, but this is what you can see of the bridge from this vantage point. Right, that's what you can see of the bridge from this vantage point. Let me see if I can get closer, even closer. We are in Peters Hall. We just passed the school. That's the Peters Hall School. And we're just walking through the local neighborhood to get as close as possible to the bridge. Like I said, the closer you get, the less you can see, because as you get closer, the bridge gets obscured by the bush and the rooftops, the houses that are located along the river bank. Right, but you can see this is what it looks like here. And I think at the end of the street you can see that blue fence. Tells you that is where the neighborhood was removed by eminent domain. So this is what you can see of the bridge from this location, from this point. As you get closer, you lose the bridge itself to the rooftops, but it is actually quite massive in person. Right, if you're here in person, it appears to be quite massive, looming over this neighborhood. So the first time I used this street to take a look at the bridge, there was a neighborhood, several houses that were in the path of the bridge and were going to be acquired by eminent domain. Those houses have been removed, but I think a few of them still remains. I'm interested to see. There's a pretty expensive house, a pretty expensive property right at the corner underneath the bridge. And I want to see if they actually did remove that house. Now here, again, you're losing the bridge, sight of the bridge to the rooftops as you get closer into the trees. But this is what it looks like here, almost directly under the bridge. Right, you can see this section, that's the high span section. You can see now clearly the gap between the high span section and the ramp section. Of course, there's this fence that prevents us from getting any closer, but it's right up Almost done with the bridge now. Somebody was arguing, constantly arguing with me about how much these people were paid for the houses. The last time you were here, if you go back to that older video, there was a pretty large and expensive property that had to be removed, right? You can see over the rooftops, you can see the hotel, right? That's the Princess Casino and the Ramada Hotel. But yeah, there was an expensive property that had to be removed. And what this guy is arguing with me is that the PPP offered people a fair price. That was one of the last houses to be removed. And I explained to him that not everybody accepted the offer because some people, their property was even more expensive than what the government was offering them. And one example was that house. It was the last house to be removed, probably because they were not offering him a fair deal for his property. It was a fairly new house, but that house has been demolished now. And this is what remains of this neighborhood. So these houses that remain are the closest to the bridge, closest houses to the bridge. Everything else has been removed. And this is the path of the bridge through this neighborhood. Now they have this blue fence, I guess construction fence, prevents you from getting closer. Right, but this is what it looks like. See if you can see over the fence. Oh, that's what it looks like over the fence. Right, but this is what it looks like from this neighborhood. Not very much more that you can see. But that's it, guys. That is what the bridge looks like, and the neighborhood under the bridge looks like from the closest point that you can see it. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing economy in the world. This is the Demerara River. Here's this guy hanging over. He's hanging off the side of the bridge. Just a repair guy, I suppose, or one of the construction workers. I don't know why it won't focus. Yeah, it's a construction guy hanging off the side of the bridge at this point. But yeah, guys, that's what's up. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country in the world, Guyana. Later!